It's a top 6 matchup here in John Cook Arena at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, where the number 6 Nebraska Cornhuskers host the number 5 Penn State Nittany Lions. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Izzy Panetta here alongside All-American Chris Heiser as we gear up for a Big Ten battle right here on Big Ten Plus. Chris, two tales this week with Nebraska coming off a loss at Ohio State, wanting to bounce back from that. Penn State coming off a win in their home opener against Illinois. Give us some insight on what we can expect for tonight and the rest of the season. Of
course, yeah. Penn State should be fairly confident coming into this meet. They're 1-0 with their win last weekend against Illinois at home. Nebraska, other story. They're 0-1. They lost their first bout against Ohio State at Ohio State. A little bit weaker of a P-bar rotation for them. Their 3-13 overall team score can be a little sign of that. Looking to turn that around here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at Illinois and Penn State last week, Penn State did come away with that win, as we talked about, and they did surpass that 315 mark, which is where you want to be this time around. What stands out to you from them?
Of course, looking at that high bar score, the rest of their scores are very strong. That high bar score looked a little weaker. Coach Randy Jepson, at the beginning of this meet today, said he was looking for the team to finish stronger a little today against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So we're looking to see a strong end of the meet today.
Yeah, as we look at that top 13 coaches pool, you'll see Nebraska and Penn State are both in that top 6, right where they want to be. But as we've talked about, it's a little uncomfortable to be towards the bottom of that top 6.
Yeah, of course. NCAA's takes the top 6 teams to day 2 finals. So you want to be a little bit closer towards the top 3 or 4 to be certain to make day 2.
Absolutely. Should be a really close matchup between these two. We'll see you here for the first rotation.
For the first rotation, your Huskers are on the floor. Fans, let's hear it. Go Big Red!
Welcome back into the Bob Devaney Sports Center, where we have Penn State versus Nebraska. We're going to start here on the floor. Max Auden, a junior captain for the Nebraska Huskers.
Yeah, Max, a junior captain from Arizona. Very strong floor tumbler. Gonna start off here with a double front, a little hop in the front, very clean pass to start the routine. Going to his second tumbling pass, a front double twist to front full, stuck the landing. That's exactly what you want to look for on floor. To all our listeners back home, you want to look for on floor the fewest number of hops in between all your tumbling passes. Max so far doing a great job at that.
Absolutely, going into his non-acro skills here.
Beautiful press to handstand on those thumbs. You got to hold that for 2 seconds, which he does very well. The Nebraska Cornhuskers will start off on floor. They'll be the first competitor, and then the Nittany Lions will follow it directly with their head-on-head competition. Little hop out of bounds for Max. Gearing up for his dismount. Tucked half in, half out. Almost holds onto that stick, but a very clean routine to start the meet for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, good start there for Nebraska. Had a couple hops, like you mentioned, so those will be a couple of deductions, but he landed his passes, so solid start there for the Huskers.
Yeah, Max, the leadoff competitor on each event might not have the highest start value in terms of difficulty of their routine, but Max doing exactly what you need from a starting competitor to do a very clean routine and to get the ball rolling for the Huskers.
For sure, that first person in your lineup's off, obviously leading off, they kind of set the tone. Here, Matt Underhill for the Nittany Lions, starting on floor.
Yeah, Matt, a very strong rings competitor, but also we see him on the floor and the vault as well. Starts off with a side pass, front double full. Double layout with a little hop and very clean in the air from Matt. You can see the strength of Matt Underhill, even in his tumbling. Very, very nice front double pike. Little hop, little shuffle backwards, nothing major. Front full. Now Matt will go into his non-acrobatic skill. Every floor routine needs to have one element group of non-acrobatic, meaning a press handstand. You'll see some athletes do spindles and circles like on the pommel horse. Matt choosing to do a press handstand. Back 2.5 to punch layout. Little shuffles forward. Just take note of from all the floor competitors, take note of all the hops. Dismount from Matt. Tucked half in, half out as well. Very clean routine from Matt Underhill to start off the Nittany Lions competition day.
Yeah, kind of a similar story for him following Max. Again, that leadoff position is tough to be in. You set the tone for your team. In this event, specifically, floor is kind of where Nebraska and Penn State are more evenly matched up. Penn State being 5th in the nation, Nebraska being 3rd. So they're pretty tight, both in that top 5, which is where you want to be. Up next, it'll be Nathan York, senior for Nebraska. He's been really strong for them in leadership in terms of this year.
Yes, Nathan York actually has a couple of Big Ten medals on this event. He has a bronze medal from 2 Big Tens ago, and then last year obtaining the silver medal on floor. The Nebraska Cornhuskers like to call him Florky as a little nickname.
Yes, they do.
A little play on the floor exercise and Nathan York last name.
Yeah, you'll hear them shout out a bunch of Florkies here and there, especially when he goes above 14. Let's see if he can hit that mark here today for Nebraska.
We see a score for Max Auden, 13.35, as Nathan York steps up to the floor exercise. Let's keep the ball rolling for the Huskers.
Not a bad score.
Matt Underhill actually matching Max Auden's score as well with a 13.35. Start the first tumbling pass for Nathan. Front full to double front. One small step on the landing. Very clean in the air. The cleanliness of Nathan stands out. Front 2.5 twist. Small little checks on those landings. His side tumbling pass, a back double full, sticks the landing, very clean. Here is Nathan York's non-acrobatic. As we said, you could do a press. He opts for the triple Russian. Very similar to the pommel horse that you'll see next event.
Just about to say, seems likely for a pommel horse worker like himself.
Absolutely. Nathan takes a breath. Back 2.5 punch layout. Just manages to find his feet there. Now the men's gymnastics floor exercise change that where you have to have a single leg balancing skill if you do not have a full twist to your stomach as a transition. Tucked F in, F out. Small step on the landing for Nathan York. Exactly what he needs to do, Izzy.
Yeah, exactly. Stay calm, stay composed. It's just the first event. Obviously, you want to hit a big score, but as long as you're sticking your landing or landing your landings and not falling, that's all you want to see.
Of course, you know, we, as gymnasts, we have a statement of saying that you cannot win the competition on the first event, but you sure can go and give it away. So just the floor exercise, you're a little jittery as the first event. You just want to stay on your feet, number one.
Definitely. Sean Smith here for the Nittany Lions, stepping up to the floor.
Sean Smith, a freshman from Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. Late half in, half out, and stomps that landing. Very big tumbling pass from the freshman. Front full, double front connection pass. You get a bonus when you connect a front double flipping skill with a single flipping skill. Back double full down the side. He sticks his side tumbling, and that's that full twist to your stomach I was mentioning earlier. Sean opting for the pommel horse-like skill, non-acrobatic skill. He'll transition into the corner. Gather himself for a second. Back 2.5 punch layout. Small little hop forward. Very clean from the freshman thus far. Going into his dismount. Half in, half out. From a freshman, Izzy, this guy has a lot to look forward to his next coming years.
Oh, definitely. Had a couple of stuck passes in there. Always what you want to see coming up as a freshman in this lineup, especially when it's 4 up for a count. It gets competitive in that gym, so this is really, really good for Sean Smith, especially, as you said, just as a freshman on this team.
I believe, if I'm correct, he has at least 2 Big Ten Freshman of the Weeks in his first couple of competitions already for Penn State. very shining star. Nathan York's score flashes at a 13.95 for the Cornhuskers.
Next up on the floor, Chase Mondy, such a good floor worker for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 2025 national runner-up. Such a pleasure to watch this athlete on the floor.
Chase really is a powerhouse and just such a joy to watch. Double front side pass, small little 1/10 hop. So for those viewers at home, if a gymnast takes a larger hop and it looks like a massive hop, it's probably a 3/10 hop, which we see Chase Mondy sticking his laid out double-double right there. No movement.
So good from Chase.
Late half in, half out right there. Small little 1/10 hop, I was saying. Small shuffles are 1, big shuffles are 3.
13-7 there for Sean Smith. Good score for the Penn State Nittany Lion.
Double twist stuck by Chase, doing his full twist to his stomach. Turns this into the corner. A lot of tumbling passes from this guy, Chase Mondy. 2.5 lay, small little shuffle. Chase Mondy taking a couple breaths for his last tumbling run. Half in, half out. And the judges give him the stick flag.
Stuck dismount there for Chase Mondy. Look how excited he is. Huge routine.
Absolutely showing why he is that national runner-up. Coming second, I should say, to an Olympian in Asher Hong.
Absolutely. We look back at the scores. Nathan York currently needs the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the event at 13.95, but we'll see what Chase has to say to that. It's always good when you're kind of competing against your teammates. That's a great sign for this event for the Huskers.
I would say the difficulty of that routine with the cleanliness at which how he performed it, that should be the highest score thus far on floor exercise. Lucas Sparrow, the junior out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Now Luke is one of the best ring competitors in the nation, I'd say, opting for that, or vying for that top spot in the country right now. I had the fortunate opportunity to grow up with Lucas Sparrow. Just one of a great guy to be around at all times. Front full double pike, small shuffle, beautiful pass, very difficult connection.
Yeah, you have a connection with those Region 6 gymnasts, Chris Heiser, you being out of the Northeast. Definitely see a lot of your former teammates, former regional teammates out there.
Absolutely, it's fun to watch everyone grow up together and compete at different colleges. We always stay connected because gymnastics is such a small sport that you can never really grow far apart from each other. Lucas Sparrow showing his ring strength right there on the floor exercise, as his straight planche is his non-acrobatic element.
Such a difficult skill, so impressive to see gymnasts do those planches.
Beautiful flipping and twisting in the air from Lucas Sparrow. The judges can take deductions in the air. They should not be taking any right now. Very clean gymnast. Half in, half out. Almost got that stick.
Very nice routine there for Lucas Sparrow.
Great.
Bit of a celly. Did you see that score flash? 14.25 for Chase Mondy, the new clubhouse leader on this event. Kind of what we expected. By the way, starts at a 5.3 on that difficulty, so pretty massive score there for Chase.
Yes, so for our viewers, the difficulty of a gymnast routine is based off of what skills they do. Each skill in men's gymnastics is worth a letter grade. A corresponding with 1/10, B corresponding with 2, so on and so forth. You add up your 8 hardest element groups, and that gives you your difficulty.
Here comes Luke James, a senior on this team out of South Africa, also such a strong athlete on this event. Goes up for his first pass.
Oh, nails it.
Nice.
Front 2.5 side pass. Double lay, tumbling, small little hop. Great job thus far from Luke James.
He is such a fun athlete to watch on this event in general, but he really lets his emotions show. He's not afraid to wear them on his sleeve.
Yes, Luke having a bit of international experience too, competing for the country of South Africa in the in international competitions. The African National Championships this last summer.
So 13.6 there for Lucas Sparrow, a good solid score. You want to be in those mid-13s or higher. Penn State will be happy with that.
Really fighting for those landings, Luke James here. Gearing up for his dismount. Men's gymnastics, you have to finish with a double flipping dismount. Half in, half out. It's a little small hop. Very good from the senior there, Luke James. Senior captain, I must add.
Very nice there, rounding out the floor lineup for the Huskers. Luke, just watch how high he gets off the floor. A little bit less controlled than he'd like to be on that pass, but overall a very solid routine from Luke James.
It was very clean tumbling. He's known for his cleanliness.
Yeah, it'll be Axley Karsikis last for Penn State on floor. Axley,
Junior out of Finland.
yes.
Excelli here with a lot of international experience. Another clean gymnast. Front double twist, double flipping. Oh, he's going for a very big connection there. Sits that down. That will be a 1-point deduction. Men's gymnastics is a 1-point deduction for a fall. If you follow women's gymnastics, that is a half-point deduction, but men's gymnastics is a full mark.
13.65 there for Luke James in the last routine. Solid. Very, very good score. Again, right where they want to be. We'll definitely aim for those upper 13s as the season progresses, but we'll get there. We keep watching Axley go into his strength.
Wow, very difficult planche press to handstand. That is a D difficulty element, which means it's worth 4/10, which is a very difficult non-acrobatic element. Performs it beautifully. Back 2.5 punch layout. Very small corrections on these landings. Judges shouldn't be taking much. Into his dismount, half in, half out. Almost stomped that ground and stuck it. Very small little shuffle. Overall, Izzy, very solid performance by both teams to start this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the second, Nebraska's going to have the edge there with just Penn State having to count that one fall. But, you know, these two teams have different strengths on different events, so we really can't say where it's going to go until the final rotation.
Yes, Izzy, you mentioned a little bit of having to count a fall. So in men's gymnastics, as of recent years, they changed the format where you have...
Yeah, just definitely different intense scoring these days. Not as lenient as it used to be.
Yep, you got to count all 4 scores.
Yeah, as we had before, a moment of silence there for Coach Jim Hartung, who passed this last month. Was very, very close to the team. Chris, you can talk about how much it meant to these guys and these coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the fortunate opportunity to be coached by Coach Jim Hartung. Truly loved and missed by everyone on the team. But you'll notice that the Nebraska Cornhuskers have a little Jim Hartung patch on their uniforms that they're wearing today. All the gymnasts in the corrals wearing a Jim Hartung shirt just to keep his love and his memory alive for the whole entire team.
Yeah, just something really special. Really cool to see that for the Cornhuskers.
And that concludes our first rotation. Teams, please rotate to your next event.
Welcome back into the Bob Devaney Sports Center. End of rotation 1 with Nebraska in the lead going into the second at 55-2. Penn State not far behind with a 52-9. They did have to count that fall like we talked about. And we'll head to Pommel Horse for the second rotation. Chris, talk to me a little bit about Pommel Horse. What does this event bring?
Well, sure, I was not quite known as a pommel horse master myself, but I do know that those pommel horse guys that stand out will have longer arms, longer legs. It's a little bit scarier to compete pommel horse. If you are familiar with women's gymnastics, it's very similar to the balance beam. You got to attack that circle every single time. The judges are looking for nice extension, squeezed legs, squeezed knees, hips above the pommel horse. And all in all, you only want to come off the pommel horse one time. It's not a great day if you come off twice, Izzy.
Exactly. Just want to focus on that dismount in terms of coming off the horse. Penn State, a very good team on this event, third in the nation, with Casper Goncharek opening up for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Jim Cappy, as the team likes to call him.
Jim Cappy, yes.
Goes for a scissor element. Now going into a single pommel flop sequence. It's very clean. Little brushes of the pommel horse, nothing major yet. Great Roth traveling element from Jim Cappy. Tong Fei. The judges will be looking for, it is called skew. So look at those hands being very even to each other. Going into his dismount. And he completes the dismount.
Nice.
An E dismount from Jim Cappy.
Very good there from Casper.
Always great to come off the pommel horse once, Izzy, and he starts off the pommel horse rotation for the Nittany Lions very well, looking to rebound after a little bit of a rougher start on floor than they would have liked.
Absolutely. There's just a replay there at his dismount. He does start at a 15 too, so hopefully can hit those high 13s, maybe even a low 14. We'll see what the judges have to say. I'm no expert at that, but that is a big start value there for Casper.
Absolutely. We have a freshman here from California, Wyatt Reynolds.
Yeah, one of those 8 true freshmen that John Robinson and Chuck Jamelka brought on. They had to replace 4 fifth years and 4 true seniors last year, so bringing in a lot of young talent, Wyatt Reynolds being one of them.
Yes, Wyatt has a very beautiful look on pommel horse, not the highest start value, just looking to attack. It is termed as execution. So how clean a gymnast can perform their routine. He will start off with a side scissor mount. Clean start for Wyatt. As you can note at home, just look at the difference in the extension in the hips. The judges are watching the hip angle here. And you can see his hands trying to be as square as possible. Very clean so far for Wyatt, and just the dismount left. Up to handstand, and he completes that E dismount. The Huskers in the corral are very excited, as is he. Very excited about that routine.
Hyping up the crowd there, freshman Wyatt Reynolds. And look, yes, as you mentioned, look at the Husker crowd getting hyped for him. Always fun to know that your team has your back right next to you.
Absolutely. That must be a absolutely relieving feeling.
Look at that.
A pommel horse specialist, Wyatt Reynolds.
So good from the freshman.
Reminds me of one of my teammates, Cooper Giles, out there, a pommel horse specialist himself. And if you can follow up after the All-American Cooper Giles, you're not in bad company at all.
Next up, Skylar Perez there for the Nittany Lions, reigning Rookie of the Week. Ricky Perez, pardon me. Ricky Perez up there for the Nittany Lions. He, out of Florida, looking to keep the pommel horse rotation going for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Just some last-minute adjustments there from Coach Jepson as he chalks up and gets ready.
Yeah, you want to make sure those handles can move and you can adjust the width of the pommel horse for each individual athlete. Casper getting a 13.4 to start off the Nittany Lions on pommel horse. Ricky looking to pick up the ball and roll from there. A scissor element traveling all the length of the horse, known as a McCulloch, after the Olympian Sam McCulloch for Team USA. Goes into a single pommel element called the sewn, now into some single pommel circles. Anytime you're on that single pommel for a long time, you're increasing your difficulty in men's gymnastics. Now going into a requirement to travel the length of the horse, very clean. And a very nice, very difficult routine from the freshman, Ricky Perez.
Yeah, great routine there from Ricky Perez. Last week's not only Big Ten Freshman of the Week, but also CGA's Rookie of the Week. So he's known to be very, very big for the Nittany Lions.
Wow, Ricky's standing out and showing us why he earned that Big Ten Freshman of the Week last week.
It's good to see a lot of underclassmen presence on your team. It gives you a lot of hope for the future. Obviously, these are the kids that are going to continue to be on your team the next 3 years, so always promising.
Yes, underclassmen presence is a great feeling. When you have some freshmen and sophomores in lineup, it gives the coaches a bit of a relief knowing that their team's a little solidified for the next couple of years.
Yeah, speaking of underclassmen, Caden Clinton here, a sophomore for the Huskers, who the Huskers like to nickname Bill.
Bill, after Bill Clinton, that is correct.
Going here on horse,
Caden,
into his flares.
Beautiful flare work.
Wow.
Just increasing difficulty anytime you do skills in a flare. And you can see the toe point of Caden. Caden's dad actually competed for the Nebraska Cornhuskers as well. Dismount, and he nails it for the Cornhuskers.
Very nice there from Caden Clinton. It's a 13-5 there for Perez in the last score. Solid score there for the Nittany Lions.
Caden, you can see just a little hyped up after that routine. just a little excited.
Just a tad. I think he was pleased with it.
I would say so, Izzy, yes. So far, both teams very strong on the pommel horse today. One of the harder events to compete.
Absolutely, both teams so far with scores in the mid-13s, so it is pretty tight. We'll see how Caden Clinton scores as we gear up for Malik next on Penn State.
For Tom Malik from Australia, another freshman for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, getting a little bit of the international experience here. Both teams have international presence. Obviously, like you mentioned, Ratam is from Australia. You have Axeli out of Finland. It's really cool to kind of see these students come from all over the world and get that experience in the NCAA.
Yeah, the more countries you have represented in the NCAA, the more likely that men's gymnastics will grow again in the United States.
Always a good sign.
Always a good sign. A 13-7 from Caden Clinton with a 15.0 start value. Should be very pleased with that one.
Here's Ratam.
Scissor helmet, very clean extended circle. Legs together on that E-flop. Another single pommel flop sequence into his tongue fei travel across all the pommels. And just a slight hand slip, I believe, Izzy. I think his right hand slipped, which made him fall off the pommel horse.
Unfortunate fall there for Ratam.
I believe the judges will give him credit for the value of that skill as we take a look back at it. Oh, it just looked like his thigh hit that handle right there. That handle does not feel good if you hit it. You want to extend those hips and hope to avoid that pommel. And he will continue with his Savado back travel and into his dismount, handstand. All right, is he not bad? A very clean finish to that routine. He has got a very beautiful circle.
He does. Up into the unfortunate fall, it was looking like a beautiful routine. He clearly has solid technique, great foundational basics. But yeah, just caught the pommel there towards the end and then finished off with a solid dismount.
Absolutely. Still early in the season, so we should be on the lookout for Ratam Malik, a very, very clean pommel horse worker.
Next for Nebraska is Nick Tarka, one of those underclassmen out of Knoxville, Tennessee, out of the East. Looking for him to score big for Nebraska.
The team calls him I Am Nick, referring to his Instagram handle.
Yeah, Instagram handles seem to play a lot into nicknames, don't they?
Absolutely.
Him and Penn State's Casper.
Nick trying to fight on the pommel. All right, he picks up back into the rest of the routine. Going for his single pommel flop sequences. You want to keep your speed on pommel horse. Anytime you slow down, it takes a lot more effort to pick it back up. If you can keep your speed and rhythm, a couple form breaks, looking to get back into it. Anytime you lose your speed on pommel horse, it's harder to pick it back up. Into his dismount, and he makes it work for the Cornhuskers. A big sigh of relief right there. He was fighting that whole routine, and it's a great job by Nick to stay on the pommel horse.
Yeah, exactly that. Whenever you lose a bit of momentum on this event, it is so incredibly difficult to stay in it, but he did a good job working with what he had, stayed on the horse, was able to finish his routine.
Yeah, fighting to stay on that pommel horse. It's a 1-point deduction to fall off that pommel horse, so you do everything you can to stay on that horse for your teammates.
Yeah, Ratam Malik can see right there with a 12-3 following that fall, so lower than they want to be. Obviously not their day on horse, but they still have one more on lineup.
Yes, Landon Simpson, the Pennsylvania native.
Yeah, really cool for Landon, especially to be able to compete for your home team. It's not very often. A lot of these gymnasts come from out of state, so this is pretty cool.
This must be a very, very warm, welcoming feeling to compete for your, most likely, his college that he looked up to growing up.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with such the rich history that Penn State has in this sport.
Absolutely. Very strong program. Landon's traveling tongue face skill. Very big flares.
Wow.
Very, very nice flare sequence here from Landon. Traveling across the pommel horse in his flare circle. Getting ready for his dismount, it appears. Nice job from the junior Landon Simpson.
Very
Coach
nice.
Randy Jepson should be pleased with that one.
Yeah, great routine there from Landon.
It's always hard to pick up the ball and keep going after a fall. You want to, we call it stop the bleeding as gymnasts. Whenever you're following a gymnast who has fallen, your job as the next gymnast up is to go up there and hit your routine to stop whatever other deductions could incur for the team.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mental strength in that. Obviously, it's not easy to watch your teammate fall, go hit your routine right after, but looks like Landon Simpson did well, kind of picking his team up on his back, and that's what they're there for. You got to rely on your teammates as well. Closing out for the Huskers, Nathan York, again, big on this event. Nathan York has just stepped up so much in his leadership, not just as a leader, but really in showing up in a lot more events for the Huskers. Although pommel horse has been a mainstay in his career.
Pommel horse has been a mainstay for Nathan York. We should see him on 4 events here today for the Cornhuskers. This is his second event. We just saw him on floor. This is now his bread and butter, we like to call it, as athletes.
Yeah,
Nathan
here he
starting his
goes. Here's
pommel horse.
Gorky.
C scissor element group, very clean. Nathan gonna go for a very difficult single pommel connection. And he works with it. Very, very nice job from Nathan. His sewn element, another one pommel skill. And he's working, and he's trying to keep his body nice and flat. If his body's flat, the judges shouldn't be taking many deductions. Nathan York, clean routine. And he gets up to his dismount, looking to see if the judges give him credit for it. So the judges are looking for him to hit a minimum of a 45-degree handstand on that to give him credit for the dismount. I believe the judges did not give him credit for that, so he will repeat that element group. It will incur a 1-point deduction.
Yeah, you just see Nathan York at the end of that not being able to get up to his dismount. Checking the judges. He'll go again for his dismount right here.
Yeah, but gymnast has 30 seconds to remount the equipment after falling. So we'll go and repeat the element. And there he goes. That's how he wanted to hit that. Izzy, that completes the second event for us so far here in Bob Devaney.
Yeah. Big rotation for them. We'll be back here on Big Ten Plus after the break. Back in the Bob Devaney Sports Center, heading into the third rotation where the Huskers and the Lions will take on rings. Big 2 rotations starting up. Nebraska had a pretty clean floor rotation, did have a fall on pommels. Penn State also had a fall on floor and 1 on pommel, excuse me. So they'll be looking to catch up on this event. Now rings, they're second in the nation on this event. So this is kind of their bread and butter. They're only behind #1 Stanford, and Penn State is just such a strong team when it comes to these strength events.
Absolutely, Izzy. We can see a current 3-point difference, 3.25 if my math is quick enough, or 3.15 if my math is quick enough. Penn State's season best score is actually 3 points better than Nebraska's season best on pommel horse. So for all those fans listening back home, the meet is not yet over at all, not even one bit, Izzy. It's a third of the way through. We have 2 of the biggest events for scoring for Penn State coming up, so should be a very interesting second to last 4 events for this competition today.
Definitely. They've improved on this event every single week, averaging a 54 even on the event between the last 2 meets. That's a big deal. For reference, the average score on this event across the country is about a 51. Lucas Sparrow has not scored below a 13.9 in the last 3 weeks. Insanity for that Penn State gymnast. Just very, very strong.
Lucas Sparrow definitely pushing for that national championship on rings, one of the strongest competitors in the entire NCAA.
Oh, absolutely. He'll be one to watch out for, too, at Big Tens, which, by the way, is hosted at the University of Nebraska. Very exciting. The first time Nebraska has hosted the Big Ten Championship in about 5 years. The last time being there was still COVID restrictions. Fans were having to wear masks. We were having to social distance. It was a very different time, so very exciting for Lincoln to be the host city at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Absolutely. Should be a great host by the University of Nebraska Lincoln. It'll be in their basketball arena.
Yeah, Chris, you were still a gymnast there. Oh, no, you weren't. Sorry, I
was not
misspoke.
a
Chris was
gymnast.
just too young.
I was
to
1
be
year
present
too
for that.
young the last time Nebraska hosted a Big Ten championship.
So this will be the first time Chris will be able to see Nebraska host a Big Ten championship. It is an exciting meet. This conference is so competitive. As we look at the top 10 rankings, the Big Ten, they are always in that top 10. And typically in finals, 4 out of 5 teams are making that finals competition on day 2. So you never want to be the 5th team left out. Obviously, dream scenario, all 5 teams make it to finals. But you have OU and Stanford to fight on that. So it's not going to be an easy battle.
Not at all. A Big Ten team actually just won the national championship last season, the Michigan Wolverines, taking home the NCAA title, taking it away from the Stanford Cardinal last season.
Great pride point for the Big Ten Conference. The Stanford Cardinal have just been so dominant those 5 years before. It was really, really fun for Michigan to see them take home a natty. I think 10 years after their last national championship, where they also hosted, Sam Mikulik was on the team then. So very, very cool for the University of Michigan. It should be a
cool indeed.
great matchup come April.
So the gymnasts finishing up their final 1 touches, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers should be starting us off on the rings in our dual format here today.
Yeah, Nebraska's 7th in the nation on this event, so they're right in the middle, a little bit lower than they'd like to be, but they do have All-American Asher Cohen to look to, who's a senior captain on this team. He has been just such a bright spot for them on this event.
Yes, usually those last people up on each event, we call it an anchor spot. So the last person up on each event is typically your strongest athlete. We see Asher Cohen anchoring for the Nebraska Cornhuskers and Lucas Sparrow anchoring for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Max Auden will lead off here for Nebraska. Again, another captain for them, a junior out of Scottsdale, Arizona.
Max not quite known for his ability to perform on the rings, but such a clean gymnast that Coach Chuck Schmelka opts to put him into the lineup. Might not see the highest start value from Max, but you can sure bet you'll see an extremely clean routine. Going into his Yamawaki double front skill, straight to handstand. Ladies and gentlemen, the rings are called the still rings for a reason. You want to keep those rings still as much as possible. They're suspended from about a 12-foot cable. And Max finishing with a double twisting, double back dismount, a 3/10 step on the landing, but very small deductions throughout the entire routine, Izzy.
Definitely good start there from Max Auden. Like you said, not the highest difficulty you'll see, but he did hit his skills, landed semi-cleanly, little step there, but good lead-off position there for Nebraska.
Same thing we said on pommel horse. You want to start off your team strong, no major deductions, let the team settle in on that event so the rest of your teammates can go attack their routines as much as possible.
Yes, it'll be Ratam Malik next for Penn State on rings, that freshman out of Australia. Looking to have a little bit of a better start to his day. Obviously, he fell on horse earlier, looking to improve on rings. Again, they are so strong on this event, 2nd in the country, so hoping to show that here, right in the 3rd rotation.
Assistant coach Tony Beck lifting up the athletes from the Penn State Nittany Lions to the rings, making sure those grips are on the rings very, very well. hip to L hold. So on rings, you need to have a swing to strength element group, and you need to have a strength hold element group. Every strength hold needs to be held for a minimum of 2 seconds. 2 seconds, no movement.
Little bit of fight there from Ritam.
Trying to re-stabilize the rings, and he does so there on the back giant. Building speed to the dismount. Double twisting, double back. Kicks out of it, too. Shows the judges that was a very easy dismount for him. Should be very pleased with that score.
Yeah, solid start there for the Nittany Lions. Max Auden score coming in at 13.05.
Yes, so that 13.7 start value that we see, Izzy, if we can contrast it to a 15.0 as we saw on pommel horse a couple of times, a smaller difficulty routine, but we see the cleanliness of Max paying off there to get above that 13 score. Ritam's score should match that, if not be a little bit better, because the difficulty was just about the same as Max Auden's.
Ty Rodriguez now chalking up to step up to rings for the Huskers. Another freshman here, also out of Tennessee. Have a few Tennessee kids on this team, Nick Tarka, Alex Natachi. Hopefully he can do well here on rings for Nebraska.
Yeah, Ty Rodriguez, an absolute powerhouse for the Cornhuskers. Very well known for floor and vault. We'll see him later today on the vault, but right now we see him starting off on the rings for the Cornhuskers. Back up rise to, this is our swing to strength, we call it. Back up rise straight planche. An L seat hold, all held for 2 seconds. Back giant, trying to stay in control of that handstand, not let the rings move too much. Yamawaki swinging group, and it's controlling the handstand. Very nice from Ty. Same dismount we've just seen. Big step on the dismount. A lot of power from this freshman.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a 12.8 there for Ritam Malik. Lower than where they want to be. Ty Rodriguez following that. Fought a little bit on that dismount, so he will get a sizable deduction on that, but
overall promising.
Yeah,
promising for the freshman. After the first score from each team, Nebraska is up 3.4 points. Penn State getting into their stronger ring workers here with Excelli. Again, Excelli hailing from Finland. We should see a couple more bigger strength skills from Excelli. This is where the term ring worker comes in. Back up rise to straight planche. Holds it for his 2. Lower to Maltese. Would like to see it a little bit lower if I was the judges, but I'm being picky.
Coming out of his yams there.
Nice handstand. Handstand lower to planche. Very unique element to lower into that planche from a handstand. Back giant, straight to handstand. Dismount, very nice. See, the difficulty on this routine is he should be a lot higher than so far we've seen. Getting closer to that 15, if not surpassing that 15 start value.
Yeah, nicely done there from Karsikas. Probably one of the best routines we've seen so far on this event. I would expect that to be the highest scoring after those 4.
We should expect that as the highest score, with Ty Rodriguez's score at 12.55.
Yeah, just a small hop back on that dismount. But overall, very, very good from Karsikas.
Now we have Anthony Kopi from Georgia. A very tall gymnast. Gymnasts are not known for their vertical height, but Anthony Kopi reaches that 6-foot height, and you can tell the difference being taller than assistant coach John Robinson.
Yeah, he sticks out in the lineup for sure.
He sticks out, absolutely. One of the taller gymnasts you'll see doing the rings. Tony going for a back up rise to straight planche. Very clean there. Lower to Maltese. To a front uprise L seat. Taking a breath before he goes into his Yamawakis. Trying to get control of that handstand, trying to fight, and falls forward, but he's covering up well. It's back to his handstand. And I believe that was not the intended routine, but he covers it up as clean as he can. Izzy, I think he fell out of handstand a couple times, maybe getting a little too tired.
Yeah, just finding difficulty there towards the end of his routine. Rings is not a forgiving event, and once you fall out, it is very difficult to get back in, as we saw there with Anthony Copey.
Yes, I think this could be just it being the third meet of the year for the Cornhuskers, a little bit new to some lineups. Still got to tweak some lineups here and there, I presume, with this being Penn State's 5th competition of the year.
Absolutely.
I believe, Izzy. It should be, they're a little more situated for
Absolutely.
their lineups.
Yeah, like you mentioned, this being their 5th meet, Nebraska only being their 3rd, they've had less time to mess around with lineups, and they're still figuring it out. So it is mid-season. There is still a lot to go. We could
see
look forward to that.
13-8 from Excelli. That, right there, that just shortened the gap between
Huge
Penn
score
State.
from Excelli. That's an All-American
That is an
score.
All-American level score. And speaking of All-American, Matt Underhill, one of the strongest NCAA ring competitors. Azarian to Maltese, very flat.
Yes, he's been so consistent for Penn
Uprise
State.
Maltese, bounced across. On rings, you want to make these strength elements look easy. Yamawaki to front giant, trying to work with that handstand as well. Bails out of his handstand to another strength element. Anytime you
Very
see
nice.
more than 3 strength elements on rings, you can better believe that this guy is a ring worker for sure.
Dismount here.
So much power on that dismount from Matt Underhill. We should be on the lookout for him, Izzy. This guy is a former All-American himself, looking to make a statement in his 3rd season.
You can just tell.
His senior season, excuse me.
Watching his gymnastics, he's very comfortable in this event. Obviously had a couple steps on the dismount, but all the way up until then, it was a very, very solid routine.
Yes. Should be up there with Excelli's score.
Oscar fans, make some noise. Finishing on rings for
And the 2-time All-American, Asher Cohen, stepping up to the rings, the senior captain out of Colorado.
Yeah, Asher out of Lakewood from the 5280 gym, a very well-known gym. So many gymnasts come from there. Yo Moldauer, the Olympian, came out of that gym. Asher, you can just tell, has such great fundamentals in gym, and it's very exemplary here on rings.
I'd encourage all the viewers and all the young gymnasts out there, if you wanna work rings and you want someone to look up to this guy right here. Asher going into an uprise inverted cross. You want those shoulders flat on the bottom of the rings, very clean there. Into an uprise Maltese, bounce to cross. Seeming like never-ending strength,
So
Izzy.
good there from Asher Cohen. Yeah, indeed, never-ending strength.
Yamawaki front giant.
13-9 for Matt Underhill. That's a huge, huge score for Penn State.
Big score for Penn State. Asher, look at that handstand. Beautifully executed thus far.
Dismount here.
And he almost stuck it for the
Almost got that
Cornhuskers.
stuck. That's so clean for Asher. Look, he's hyped up. Just the tiniest hop on that dismount, but wow.
Pointing to that
Beautiful.
crowd, trying to get him back involved in the meet. You know, not the best lineup for the Cornhuskers, but Asher just finishing it off, anchoring for the Cornhuskers, showing them why he is that anchor spot.
Absolutely. I mean, Asher has what you have, pretty gymnastics. You guys like to call it pretty gymnastics. Beautiful, just such solid lines from him. He's definitely going to be a main contender for that Big Ten ring title.
Absolutely.
Luke Asparo, who we spoke about, has not dipped below 13-9 all season. So good at this event. As he gears up for rings with assistant coach Tony Bick there to help him up. But yeah, Chris, talk to me about Luke. How is he as a rings worker?
Luke is one of the hardest workers I know. He was unfortunately out all last season due to an injury. I talked to him a little bit. He's super amped to be competing again. Azarian to Maltese, just shoulders at the bottom of the rings. Just absolute stud of a ring worker. Look at that Maltese, flat. You can iron clothes on that Maltese.
Just so solid.
Price to invert. Judges want that held a little bit, picking up a little swing, but he's covering it. The veteran in him is covering this handstand swing. Back giant to handstand.
So good.
Doing well from Lucas Sparrow.
14.35. You saw that score flash up for Asher Cohen. Dismount here.
Great,
Nice dismount.
Great routine from Lucas Sparrow. 14.35 from Asher Cohen. That is the highest score of the night on rings thus far. Still waiting for that
Sparrow's
score
dismount
from
there.
Sparrow.
So good. Just, again, a little hot, but Penn State will be happy with that.
Sparrow's ring routine is the hardest ring routine done today, so we'll see. We'll see what score flashes, but we're heading to vault next.
At the halfway point here in the Bob Devaney Sports Center, Nebraska with a slim lead of 160.1 to 158.55 from Penn State. Nebraska both had a little bit of a struggle on there, so Penn State did too, but Penn State still coming up close. Again, only just under 2 points of a difference here, so this is still anybody's meet. We'll be heading to vault next, which is Nebraska's undoubtedly strongest event. They are so good, #1 in the nation on this event. They have a bunch of veterans on here. The only freshman on this event is Ty Rodriguez, but they have Chase Mondi, Alex Natachi, Luke James, who all throw massive vaults. Penn State, on the other hand, they're not far behind. They're in the middle. They're at 7th. So, again, they could be stronger, but this is a huge event for Nebraska. And also, Chris, it is the highest scoring event. So you can really make up for any lost ground you had previously.
Yes, a point and a half in terms of men's gymnastics is not completely out of it. Just a reminder, a fall is 1 point. So if one team incurs 2 falls in the next 3 events, we can look for some shuffling around in this score. Nebraska being 1.6 ahead of Penn State right now. The super senior Kellen Ryan, a transfer from Minnesota. Minnesota, unfortunately, cutting their men's gymnastics program, now in the Gym Act, we like to call it. But Kellen Ryan transferring to Penn State a couple of years ago to continue his D1 gymnastics competitive career, looking to start the vault for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Kellen Ryan with a 14-2 season high on this event. You definitely want to be in the 14s on this event. Anything lower, you probably are counting a step or a fall. Yeah, like you said, Kellen transferred in from Minnesota's Gym Act program, so definitely going to see a lot more of that. There's been a lot of stars that have come out of these club programs, Kellen being one of them, and it's been really cool to see his journey at Penn State.
Yes, so for vault, Izzy, we have a couple different abilities, entrances to the vault, we like to call it in men's gymnastics. I believe here today we should see all round-off element vaults, but there are some front handspring elements. None of the gymnasts here tonight should be performing any of those. We should see all kazamatsu elements in men's gymnastics. All skills are named after the first gymnast to perform them in an international competition.
Yeah, absolutely. The Yurchenko style vault, which you'll see commonly in women's, it's a little less common in men's. Some gymnasts do elect to choose them, but like Chris mentioned, Kaz style vaults are really where you're going to see most of the time.
Very common, and if I can anticipate correct, Kellen Ryan should do a round off onto the table with 2.5 twists off the table, with starting value difficulty for those who are keeping track back home is a 14.8 for all of our viewers back home. Judges just getting situated at their table.
Yeah, Chris, that's correct. 14 8-star value there for Kellen Ryan. Hopefully leading his team off with a stick, which a lot of gymnasts describe there's nothing quite like sticking your vault. It's, you know, it's one skill, that's the whole event, so kind of one of the best feelings in the world.
Kellen Ryan getting ready for his vault. He salutes to the judges. Vault is the quickest event in all of gymnastics. 6 seconds and you're done. 2.5, almost sticks it. Fantastic start for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, very solid. Minimal deductions there from Kellen Ryan.
We can see Penn State close the gap. We were after Pommel Horse. It was a 3.2 gap between Nebraska and Penn State. Now
here's that vault again. off the table.
Half of the difference was made up on one event, Izzy.
Yeah. That's how quickly meets can change. You really, really never know until the last rotation. Obviously, you'll hear that a lot, but it's true. Things can change very quickly, especially on an event like vault.
Especially on an event like vault. Now, Alexander Natashi should do a Yurchenko entrance, so he'll do a round off on the ground, it will look like, and he will enter the vault backwards. And then he will do a 2.5 twist.
13-8 there for Kellen Ryan. Obviously, this event is a lot shorter, so scores will come in quicker. Solid score there for Kellen.
Yes.
Here's Alex Natachi.
He buckles on the table. Not his intended vault for those who are back home. Not his intended vault. He only does a 1.5 twist. He must have felt off on the table, on the board. You can see his arms crunch, get close to his head.
Yeah,
so that'll be a lower start value than he intended.
Not what the Huskers are looking for. You see Alex Natachi walk off just a little disappointed.
Last week, Izzy, he actually stuck his intended vault at Ohio State. Nebraska actually stuck 3 out of their 4 2.5s against Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you have 2 others in your lineup. Hopefully you can lean on them. Penn State, it's freshman Sean Smith on vault. Looking again to perform well for the Nittany Lions as he salutes, steps up to the runway.
The young freshman again on his 3rd event already of the competition. Another 2.5 for the freshman. A little shuffle out of bounds. So on vault for men's gymnastics, if you put 1 foot over those side white lines, it is a 1/10 neutral deduction. If both feet are out, it's a 3/10 neutral deduction to your overall score. Right there, Sean only going 1 foot out of bounds. Does very, very well overall.
Yeah, big vault thrown there for a freshman, 2.5. A lot of power. Definitely something he'll want to fine tune as we get later into the season, but not a bad vault. And
See him
just see
spot that ground over his shoulder. We have Chase Mondi. We saw him on floor.
Yeah, and if you're good at floor, typically you're good at vault. Those events tend to go hand in hand. Huge vaulter again, as Chris mentioned, stuck his vault last week at Ohio State. With another big 2.5. Let's see if he can repeat it this week against Penn State.
Oh, he almost gets it.
Hop back, but great vault there from Chase Mondi.
We see a big change in scores, ladies and gentlemen. A 11-5 from Alex Natashi compared to that 13-8 from Kellen Ryan. That should shuffle the scores. It should put Penn State theoretically in the lead for right now.
Big block off the table. Look at how he rotates in the air. Again, just a little hop here, but so controlled there from Chase Mondi. Great vault
really
there.
Clean gymnast.
Next, it'll be Matt Underhill for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Yeah, Matt Underhill we just saw in rings. Very strong ring competitor, and we saw him at the beginning of the meet on floor.
Yeah, and
This Underhill's 3rd.
Yeah, fair amount of lineup appearances there for Matt Underhill. He's been huge for them.
Great veteran to have in lineup. 2.5, and he sticks it.
Stuck dismount there for Matt Underhill.
Stomp that ground. You get a bonus 10th for men's gymnastics when you stick your
Look at
final
him.
landing.
So hyped up there for Matt Underhill, getting the Nittany Lions back up. Again, they were only about a 1.5 behind in vault. Anything can happen. When you have a big stick like this, it is so good for the team's spirit, but also obviously your score.
And with Chase Mondi's 14.05, Penn State was 0.5 tenth. Penn State at 185.7, Nebraska at 185.65 after 2 scores. So Penn State takes the lead after 2 vaulters so far.
Ty Rodriguez stepping up there for Nebraska. Again, that solo freshman on this vault lineup, hoping to throw a big vault and show up big for Big Red. Here he goes.
He sits it back for the Cornhuskers. He was looking for that stick, Izzy. I think he wanted it real bad.
Yeah, just slightly under-rotated there. Obviously a little disappointing there for Ty Rodriguez, but gave it a lot of power. 13.95 there for Matt Underhill. Big score just under that 14 mark. Here's another look at Ty Rodriguez's vault. Good in the air, just a little under where you can see he fell back, sat that vault. It'll be a 1 point deduction there for Nebraska.
It will be a 1/10 deduction for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Not quite what you want to see as far as this vault rotation. Not the same vault rotation from Ohio. Here we go, Landon Simpson for the junior. Again, out of Pennsylvania. Cause 2.5, 1/10 out of bounds, but very clean. Should score fairly well for the Nittany Lions. A 12-9 for Ty. Again, not what you want in terms of scoring, but the Nebraska Cornhuskers got one more vaulter to go, and it's the senior Luke James out of Cape Town, South Africa.
Yeah, here's another look at Landon Simpson's vault. Off the table, a little bit of form in the air to watch out for in that toe out of bounds, but he did put the vault down. We'll see what the judges want to give that.
Yes, the judges do want to see your legs glued together in your twist, your knees straight. They don't want any deviation in form. Luke James saluting the judges. Makes his way down the runway. Luke James, a very clean ball, a little shuffle. Nice job from Luke James.
Yeah, solid way to round out that rotation there for Nebraska. Had some unfortunate mishaps, not very characteristic of what Nebraska was capable in this event, but solid ending there from the senior.
Great finish for the Cornhuskers on vault.
After this, we'll head into rotation 4. We'll be on the parallel bars, Nebraska and Penn State here on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back into the Bob Devaney Sports Center. We're heading to parallel bars for the 5th rotation. You can see these scores shake down. Penn State with just over 5/10 lead. Chris, talk to me about the last rotation.
Yeah, vault was not the same Nebraska Cornhuskers that you had seen in Ohio, with a couple of falls. Penn State just giving it a whole switch around on that scoreboard. We see Penn State making up over 4 points in overall team score, shifting the tide of the meet. Now they're half a point up as we head into the last 2 events, parallel bars and horizontal bar.
Yeah, this is very typical for a gymnastics meet. Again, it's a sport of tenths, so we're used to seeing close meets like this, maybe closer than these teams would like it to be, but that's all what a great competition has. We'll head to parallel bars, one of Penn State's strongest event. We jokingly call them P-Bar School University. I talked to assistant coach Tony Beck before the meet and joked that they were just so strong in these events, and it's true. Historically, they're strong in events like P-Bars and rings, but I mean, they're great top to bottom too. Nebraska, on the other hand, they are 7th in the nation on this event. They're wanting to make up ground, so they're right in the middle. A bright spot for them has been senior Nathan York.
Yeah, Nathan York starting off the season with a 14.45 in Colorado Springs at the Air Force Academy. A very veteran presence on that P-Bar squad with Nathan York and Asher Cohen. Young Caden Clinton looking to step up as a sophomore, and then Alex Natashi in there looking to give it a little turnaround for the Nebraska Cornhuskers on P-Bars. My apologies.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Nathan York and Asher Cohn have been leading the front on Ps for the Huskers, both with season highs in the high 13s. York, like you said, opened the season with a 14.45 at RMO. Huge score. He did end up claiming the event title that meet. Definitely hoping to repeat here. Yeah, it's just such an intense event. Again, a strength-based event, so you really have to hone in on those details on this event. And it's really kind of like anything else. Once you lose your momentum, you gotta click back into it, regain your focus, and finish out the routine.
Yeah, Izzy, P-Bars is all about that handstand, being confident in your handstand and trusting yourself. And for ladies and gentlemen, those of you back home, don't go away too far. We still have high bar, the most exciting event in men's gymnastics, to finish the competition. All the high-flying elements high risk, high reward. We remember Randy Jepson hoping to finish the meet a little stronger on high bar for the Nittany Lions. And we have the Nebraska Cornhuskers looking to rebound from their P-bar rotation in Ohio State.
Yeah, like
Last
you
couple
mentioned,
seconds here.
Yeah, Yorkie just not having his best routine last week, wanting to bounce back from that, knowing he has such a high ceiling on this event. We'll definitely want to look for that from the Cornhuskers.
Correct. The warm-up rotation, the warm-up time concluding here on our 5th and 6th event. Nebraska will start on the parallel bars with sophomore Caden Clinton, nicknamed Bill, as a joke after the president, Bill Clinton.
Measuring out his bars there, it's something you'll see gymnasts do a lot. Just hold out their forearm and make sure they're at the width that they like to be at.
Caden out of Houston, Texas, trained at the same gym as Team USA Olympian Jonathan Horton, been coached by him a little bit and just really trying to take after what he and all of Cypress Academy stand for as gymnasts.
Yeah, just making his bars there. Chris, talk a bit about how making the bar, how much of a process it is. I mean, it's a multi-step process here for them.
Oh yeah, gymnasts like to use different variations of tactile grip, if I would like to put it. Some gymnasts using honey, some gymnasts using a combination of sugar water. I've even seen people use Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola on the bars, but if you can get a good grip on the bar, the rest of your routine will be much more comfortable for yourself.
Caden Clinton here leading off for the Cornhuskers on P-bars.
Starting a front uprise to a 1 1/4 front flip to his upper arm. Very clean from the sophomore. P-bars, you have to do underhang skills. Anytime you go below the bars, that is considered an underhang. A giant swing to a Bob's Arc to traveling all the way across the bar. Performs that beautifully. Looks like a flying squirrel, Izzy.
Yeah, nice form there, just swimming over the bar as he makes his way to the other side of the P's.
To pelt back to the middle of the bars. Very nice routine from the sophomore so far. Double pike, dismount, small hop. Very hyped up after that, we can tell. Trying to get the crowd back into it for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Oh, great routine there from Caden Clinton. Like you said, he is a legacy. His father was on the team here back in the day. Let's take another look at his dismount here. Yeah, just small hop, but very nice there from Caden.
Should be super pleased with the opener for the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, solid. It'll be Lucas Barrow leading off for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Like we mentioned, just such a strong event for them. Again, 3rd in the nation. They're averaging a 52.663 on this event. For reference, the national average on this event is around the 50.0 mark. So they're above average. They're doing great. This is really where they want to hone back in and maybe get a bigger advantage over the Huskers.
Yeah, that 52.66 average is about a 13.15 average. So we can anticipate scores no lower than a 13-2 from these Penn State Nittany Lions. It's a very strong score if that's your average. They're obviously looking to push a little bit higher than that 13-2, but should be in for a good treat here on P-bars from Penn State. Same 1 1/4 element we saw from Caden Clinton. Luke doing his underbar. Couple struggles in the handstand. Anytime you see a gymnast bobble a little bit in their handstand, that judge is taking a little bit of a deduction. He travels all the way and does his Bob's Arc element all the way across the bars as well.
13.5 there from Caden Clinton. Solid score in the leadoff position.
To pelt back to the middle. Double pike dismount. Step forward on the dismount. Makes it work for Penn State. Could be a little bit of a gap between those two scores.
See, Lucas Barr is not completely satisfied with his routine. Had a little bit of difficulty throughout there. Looking here. Did get up to handstand there.
Did make it up on that to pelt. Does get a good pop here on that double pike. Maybe a little bit early. Like to see that swing all the way through the bottom a little more so it goes up and down rather than forward and back.
Yeah, Penn State will be looking to the rest of their lineup to hopefully make up for that. A little bit under what their expectations are, but again, middle of the season, lots of time to grow. Alex Natachi will step up next for Nebraska.
You see him touching up the bars a little bit with that honey chalk mixture. Honey gets you the grip, and the chalk makes the honey stay there for as long as possible.
Yeah, the stickier the better on peas.
Stickier the better on P-bars. Got to trust your grip so that you don't worry about slipping.
Alex Natachi salutes, ready to head up on P-bars for Nebraska.
Alex, one of the few gymnasts from Nebraska who will be representing Nebraska at the Winter Cup in Louisville, Kentucky in a couple of weeks here. On the U.S. developmental team, Alex Natachi is.
12.85 there for Lucas Sparrow.
Beautiful long hang skills from Alex. Great Healy twirl. Diamond on one arm. A lot of swinging on one arm on this routine. This was the hardest dismount done in the world. Tucked half and half out, and he almost sticks it.
Finds that landing.
Great comeback from his vault a couple of moments ago, Izzy, and he really just takes a breath and gathers himself, composes himself, and goes up and hits a great routine on P-bars.
Oh, completely. Alex, like we talked about, just has, again, pretty gymnastics. Very nice lines you'll see here in this replay. Going into his dismount.
That is the hardest dismount done in the world. If you can remember when I said each skill is given a letter value, that is a G. So if you can count up your alphabet, if you remember your alphabet, that is 7/10. That is the hardest dismount on parallel bars in the world.
Yeah, Alex Natachi definitely feeling better after his unplanned incident on vault. Always feels good when you can go back later into meet and redeem yourself a little bit, because everyone knows it's not the best feeling in the world when you flub a skill and you just have to carry on. So great recovery there for Alex Natachi.
Great job, and we have Casper going next for Penn State.
Yeah, Casper Goncharek. Again, that senior for the Penn State Nittany Lions, just chalking up, getting ready.
Casper has very nice lines. Very great P-bar worker as well. Turns his back, as is his custom, before he starts his routine.
13.15 season high on this event. He'll definitely want to aim higher. He absolutely can.
Starts with an underbar skill. Hanma, basically a front pike from your upper arm back up to handstand. Anytime a gymnast on parallel bars makes it to handstand, the judges want you to show that you're there. You don't necessarily need to hold it on every skill, but you need to show your handstand to the judges. If not, if there's a slight angle or no pause, then the judges' pens are moving.
It's a 13.15 there for Alex Natachi.
Looking through
solid
his double front dismount, and he manages to save that landing. You can tell he's hyping himself back up, because he knew it could have been otherwise, Izzy.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
fought very hard for that landing.
Solid routine there from Casper. Little bit of a step, like a hop back on that dismount, but up until then, looking good.
The veteran in him being able to stay on his feet.
Here's another look at that dismount.
Front double front. Saved it there.
Absolutely.
Just keeping his team in the game. That's exactly what you need to do. No big mistakes. Just keep your team working.
If you can stay up, you can stay up.
If you can stay up, you can stay up. The coach is working on his arm, because I believe we will see Casper on high bar coming up next. So coaches and teammates trying to get some blood flow out of his arms, just trying to help him relax before the next event.
Next for Big Red, Nathan York you can see right there, getting some honey to help his grip.
Izzy, it looks like a SWAT team on the P-bars.
It does.
A NASCAR pit crew, I should say.
Yeah, he is quite the team there, helping make the bars there. Again, Nathan York has a very high difficulty on this event. One of the highest that you'll see in the NCAA. Pretty impressive considering York was not always a P-bar specialist starting out in his career. He's worked his way up and really shown a lot of leadership on this Husker squad, especially in his last year with Nebraska.
Yeah, just only making his way into the P-bar lineup as of last year. A couple of meets competed for the Huskers. Now just kind of solidifying himself in that lineup. Just composing himself, before he salutes.
15-2 start value for Nathan York on this event.
15-2. See a 13 from Casper.
Casper with a 13 even.
Athletes can
Solid
use a
score.
board to start on the parallel bars if they need it. It is not a deduction. Same start from Casper from York. Beautiful float on that Hanma skill. Now into his long hang, giant swing. Giant on one arm, increasing that difficulty. Whenever you go to one bar, your difficulty on P-bars increases even more. Swinging on one arm, D-arm, no hand movements. You love to see that. More to support to travel to the end of the bars. And now from the end of the bars, back to the middle with his Tapel.
Very solid so far for Nathan York. Dismount here.
And he rocks the dismount,
Got
Izzy.
the stick.
That's
Huge.
a little more like the Nathan York that you saw in Colorado Springs.
What a redemption for Nathan York after falling twice last week at Ohio State, scoring a 9.8. Definitely lower than what you want to be. This is going to be a pretty big score for Nathan.
This should be the biggest score on P-bars so far tonight, Izzy. That was much more Nathan York-esque. Fighting for that
good. Look at this
dismount.
dismount. Fought for it, a bit of an arm circle, but still got that stuck
You
dismount.
get that +1 bonus for your team score. It's always a great day.
So good there for Nathan York. It'll be Landon Simpson up next for Penn State. He has been big for the Lions, 13-7 season high so far for the junior.
Yeah, Landon Simpson looking to pick it up for the Nittany Lions. Scores a little lower than they would hope on parallel bars. So the junior looking to push that score into the mid to high 13s if possible here. So athletes have about 30 seconds or so in between athletes, the previous athlete who competed, in order for the next athlete who is going to compete to get ready and step up on the bars. So every gymnast has to work with the grip that they've got on the P-bars right now, because all 8 gymnasts compete on the same P-bars.
Yeah, and that can be something to factor in when you're on the road at these meets. You know, when you're the away team, you're less familiar with the equipment. You only have a day to really get used to it before you compete. So it's definitely something that they have to consider when they're on the road.
Absolutely. Peach handstand start from Landon. Front uprise Stutz, very difficult and done very well.
14.35 there for Nathan York. Now he's leading the event by
Diamond
almost a
on.
whole point.
Stutz handstand from Landon. Phenomenal routine. Stutz to one bar does that fantastic. That is called a Peters.
So
Going into his
nice.
dismount, and he
so
rocks it as
good.
well.
So good from Landon Simpson. Found the stick.
There's got to be glue on that side of the mat, Izzy. There's both people who have dismounted over there, and the last 2 gymnasts have stuck it.
So good. Watch Landon Simpson here on this dismount. Finds the stick. Salutes.
Coach Tony Beck very
Great
happy
job.
with that.
Yeah,
See him in the
he's
top
hyped
corner.
up.
And there's Coach Randy Jepson, yeah, giving him high fives. That was a very well executed
Yeah.
routine from Landon.
Great job there from Landon Simpson. Penn State will be super happy to see that score come in. Hopefully keep them closer to Nebraska.
Izzy, I want to talk about that 14.35 you just mentioned. That's a little more like the Nathan York that we saw the first week of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, uncharacteristic 2 falls from him last week. Just really unfortunate considering how close that meet was between Nebraska and the Buckeyes. Ohio State ended up pulling out the dub in the last 2 rotations, and it really makes you wonder where Nebraska could have limited errors earlier on. So definitely awesome to see from Nathan York. Redemption for him this week.
Stepping up, the senior captain out of Lakewood, Colorado, Asher Cohen on the parallel bars. You saw him on the rings with that fantastic ring routine, which I believe took the ring title. We will get final scores at the conclusion of this meet. And Asher Cohen looking to continue his day on the parallel bars. 13.8 from Landon Simpson. Peach handstand, small correction. Front 1.25 skill to upper arm, catches it fairly cleanly. Asher's just got great lines in all of his gymnastics. Doing his bobs are traveling all the way across. You can see the toe point and the ankle point, and that's just something that little things that stick out to judges about each gymnast.
Yeah, the Nebraska gymnasts have joked in the gym that Asher has the best toe point in the NCAA, and I don't know about the NCAA, but it's pretty dang clean here.
It is very clean, very well covered up right there. Had so much power, he almost fell forward, and he covered it up extremely well. Little peach press handstand before his dismount. And he brings it home for the Huskers as well.
Nice, solid there. Happy routine there from Asher Cohen. He seems satisfied with it. Again, a little bit of a hop there on the dismount, but overall so clean.
That looked like a very seasoned P-bar squad after coming off of a uncharacteristic vault rotation for the Cornhuskers. They looked like they bounced back fairly well on parallel bars.
Absolutely. After last week, just going under anywhere under 52 is not where you want to be, and they were well under. So Chuck Chamelka is going to be a lot happier with this P-bar rotation as we gear up for the final P-bar worker today. It'll be Penn State's
Yaskovic. Another international from Israel. Penn State, one of the most diverse teams, the most international gymnasts on their team, I believe, in the NCAA.
Yeah, like you mentioned, have a lot of international presence there. He is a freshman for them.
Another taller gymnast as
well.
Yeah,
he is. He is a bit on the taller side. At 6'0" on the roster, so very tall for a gymnast. Not often you see gymnasts dip into that 6-foot height, so very tall. You do have to set your equipment a lot differently from your teammates. It makes it a little bit harder.
Absolutely.
13-6 for Asher Cohen. Very good score.
Yeah, is he a 54-6 team score for Nebraska, on parallel bars is a lot better than Ohio State that they had their last go around.
Absolutely. Again, you're surpassing that 52 mark, which means you're beating the national average, which is where you want to be.
Peach half. That's the first one we've seen today. That was fantastic. Makutz fights for that handstand. Gets it there. Slight little pause, but fantastic handstand. Great control of his swing.
Yeah, doing really great work. It must say a lot to have a freshman be your anchor on an event like this.
Absolutely.
Dismount here.
Oh, look at those knees together in his double front. Very small little things that add up as in terms of execution, and he glues those knees together on the dismount, which is very difficult. Very happy for the freshman.
Seems to be very happy following, like you said, following that P-bar routine. Very solid showing there. Again, really impressive for a freshman to get up there and anchor your team. It's a lot of pressure. Sometimes it helps to see teammates go first, but it's really hard to be last. We'll head to the sixth and final rotation on high bar when we come back. Welcome back here in the Bob Devaney Sports Center, heading into the final rotation on high bar. Both teams just wrapped on P-bars. Both put up good scores. 53-1 there for Penn State and a 54-6 for Nebraska. Huge score for them. That's going to top their season high. Penn State, on the other hand, their average is a 52.663, so they are above their average. Really good for them. What did you see from that last rotation, Chris?
Yeah, I just saw the Cornhuskers swinging confidently, just not letting last week mess with them at all, and they just really attacked all their routines and just trusted their training in the gym. Just really stood out. Yeah,
definitely. You can see there at the bottom the total scores. Nebraska with a slight lead at 267. Penn State not too far behind at 266.05. So again, it'll all just come down back to this final rotation. And high bar, like you mentioned earlier, is a party. It is such an exciting event to watch, and we have some huge high bar workers on this event. Notably for Nebraska, they have Max Auden, who won 13.85 last week at Ohio State, won the title, and he also is the reigning CJA All-Star champion on this event.
Yeah, he's the sophomore from last year, All-American on high bar. As we take a look at Kellen Ryan, just concluded his high bar routine. Just got a chance to see his dismount, stuck his laid out twisting double-double. The first competitor for the Nittany Lions, and first competitor on the horizontal bar that we saw tonight.
Yeah, Anthony Copey there chalking up. He'll lead off for Nebraska on high bar.
High bar, one of the scarier events to compete. Yeah, that bar is metal, Izzy. It is not forgiving. It is not a wooden bar. It is solid metal, and it is a good 10 feet above the floor. So when those athletes are flipping above the high bar, sometimes you got to clear your body height. So they are a full 17 feet up in the air, and you have to come back down and find that bar and catch it.
Here's Anthony Copey out of Fayetteville, Georgia.
Tony doing a Takamoto half into one of those flight element groups. Tony is 6 feet, so he's above that bar. 16 feet in the air flying. Coleman catches that bar as well. The more release moves you have, the higher your difficulty on high bar. Catching his third release move. One arms giant. Gearing up for his dismount. A huge triple back coming in. And he almost sticks it.
Nicely done.
Great job by the redshirt sophomore.
Anthony Copey is fired up. First time, first year being in high bar lineups. This is good for him. He has just worked so hard over his last couple of years here, and it's exciting to see him in the lineup. Watching this replay right here, here's one of his releases.
Skill known as a Coleman, double flipping, full twist over the bar.
Right here, his dismount, triple back. Just a tiny hop, but so good there from Anthony Copey, and he's fired up.
As he should be. A triple back dismount. Man, that is one of the harder dismounts that you will see here.
Bit of a lineup change here. Or, pardon me, going second up for Penn State, it'll be Lucas Barrow. Again, Penn State is looking to improve on this event. They are 11th in the nation on this event, so it's their only event where they're outside the top 7. Coach Randy Jepson spoke last week that he was proud about their win over the Illini, but this is really the area where they want to improve.
Talk half right to handstand. All those elements on high bar you want to hit to handstand, and Luke does just that. A beautiful Kovacs double flipping release move over the bar. A piked Tkachev into a straddled Tkachev. Increasing difficulty. Got to do a couple non-release move elements on horizontal bar. His dismount, another double twisting, double layout. And his knee, reaches for his knee.
Does salute, but I think tweaked his knee a little bit there on the dismount.
Not something you want to see at all.
Here's another look at that dismount. Yeah, just landed a little harshly, holding his knee there. He is up. Hopefully he is okay.
Walking on it gingerly, not just hope for the best for Luke. I believe 2 seasons ago he did tear his ACL at the NCAA championship, so we're just
going over there with the trainer just to double check that he is okay, but he is able to walk on it and put pressure, which is a good sign.
Just really hoping that he can be okay after that dismount there. Izzy, nothing you ever want to see in any sport is another athlete to get hurt. We're all here doing the same sport. Number one, you never want to see anyone get hurt.
Absolutely. Safety of the course is always the priority, and when you're throwing big skills on events like this, it can be, like you've said, high risk, high reward. So thankfully Luke is able to walk away, but hopefully he recovers fully after this.
Nick Tarka, a sophomore up. We saw him on pommel horse. This is first time competing high bar for the Cornhuskers. Nick gonna start with a unique release move. A Jaeger, a piked Jaeger flip. Brings it close, but works with it. And a couple of small deductions there. Going the wrong way is gonna incur a couple of deductions. They're trying to keep the routine going. Form breaks, but gets it to handstand. Now he's gearing up for his release moves. The Coleman we saw from Kopi catches it, couple form breaks. Nick trying to secure another hit routine for the Huskers. He's double twisting, double leg dismount, and he keeps it on his feet. A little bit of, we call it a scrappy routine, but so what you need is you need a fight for those routines, staying on the bar, fight for those routines.
Absolutely, you can't expect to be perfect every single routine, so when things go awry, how can you recover? How can you fight for every attempt that you have remaining? And Nick did just that. Bit of a hop there forward, that'll be 3/10 there from the judges, but Nick did a great job there recovering.
You see
way to end the
the
routine.
Teammates linked arm in arm. Pleased with that, doing exactly what he needs to do. Team happy with how he performed that apparatus.
Kasper Goncharek next up for Penn State Nittany Lions. He showing up in quite a bit of the lineups here for Penn State.
There we saw Cappy on P-bars. Now he's back up on the high bar. Another senior presence.
Yeah, 12-8 season high so far for Cappy, so he'll definitely want to surpass that. But we'll see what he does for Penn State here.
Jim Cappy getting ready to go here. Salutes the judge, takes a deep breath.
High bar is one of those events that is so rigorously scored. I mean, there's just deductions that can happen really anywhere in your routine. So you want to be in those 13s. Anything in the 13s is usually a pretty good sign.
Absolutely. That's a good point, Izzy. Looking out for those 13 scores on high bar, even if you get to the mid to high 13s. Jim Cappy's Coleman double flipping full twist release move. Catches it very well. Going into his in bar, as it is called. Takamoto half, he stoops his feet in between his arms and does a half turn and pulls on that bar. Turns his body, full 180 degrees.
Dismount here for
half
Kasper.
dismount, small little shuffle. Still looking for that first stuck dismount, Izzy. Or, sorry, excuse me, we did see it from Kellen Ryan. I beg your pardon.
Very good there from Kasper. Good way to end the routine. Like you said, bit of a hop back, but a hit routine nonetheless.
Yeah, an 11.85 from Nick Tarka. Yes, he stayed on the bar, but it was quite a scrappy routine. Alex Natashi for the Cornhuskers looking to pick that up. Alex has very big, high-flying release moves.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about Alex Natashi's difficulty on a high bar. Like you said, he has some interesting skills, some you're not going to see often. Tell me a little bit about his.
Yes, if he's planning on doing the same routine that he's done in the past, he's planning on doing some of the hardest release moves. His first release move is called a Lukin, named after Valerie Lukin, Nastia Lukin, the Olympic gymnast father. It is a laid-out Tkachev where you travel over the bar and do a full turn and try and spot that bar and catch it again. So if Alex is planning on doing that, that is one of the hardest release moves done in the world. And that is just one of his few release moves that he does.
We'll be excited to see this from Alex as he hops onto the bar.
Looking to continue what he just did on parallel bars. A stoop half, form break, but he gets it up there. Here comes that Lukin. And he catches it, breaks some form over, but he's got the bar. Not done yet. His Coleman, and his ankles are just glued together, so very clean. Into his dismount, a triple backflip. Very small shuffle. Great routine from Alex.
Very, very solid. He starts at a 14.7, got really, really high on that dismount, which is exactly what you want to see. You want to see height, able to control it. Did have a bit of a hop, but overall solid.
Take a look at this dismount. It's so hard to flip with your knees as close together, ankles and toes all pointed. Very small deductions on those dismounts. There's a deduction called cowboy in men's gymnastics, and if your knees are any bit apart from touching themselves and your knees together, it's a deduction.
Alex, a lot happier with himself following that high bar routine. Goes there to dap up his teammates. Always a good feeling when you can end the meet on a good note personally.
It's a great feeling. Great way to pick himself up after vault, excuse me. P-bars and high bar, fantastic events for him.
Axley Karsikis rounding out high bar for the Penn State Nittany Lions, hoping to get them a bit higher than where they've felt so far, hoping to hit that 13 mark.
Getting those shoulders warmed up. Axley prepping his Giants.
Finishing on high bar for the Nittany Lions, Axley Karsikis.
Axley getting ready here.
Blowing off the chalk, saluting the judges. Gets ready to get on high bar.
Coach Tony Beck lifting him up. Axley starts his routine with a Takamoto half twist. Into a release move, the Coleman again. Catches it perfect distance. Straddle Tkachev, too late out Tkachev. That you get a bonus when you connect release moves, and he did his Tkachev's beautifully there, Izzy.
Very nice there from Axley. He continues.
Just about ready for his dismount. Looking for that. Almost got that stick. Great routine from Axley.
Yeah, very clean. Penn State will be happy with that routine. 12.85 flash there for Alex Natachi, lower than what he was wanting. We'll see what the judges say for Axley. Here's another look at his dismount.
Flares it out. No deduction for pike down there. That is a fantastic dismount. All he missed there, Izzy, was that stuck landing. That was a beautifully executed dismount.
Absolutely. As we come down towards the end of this rotation, this is where it gets a little tough. When you were the last person, you have a bit of an advantage. You know what the score you have to beat is. So as we get Axley's score coming in, Max Auden will be the only score left to count, and we'll see who comes away with the win, whether it's Nebraska or Penn State. But as we talked before, Max is such a big performer on this event. Finally got his All-American honor, and he is just so fun to watch, so confident.
Max has been a presence in the Nebraska Cornhusker high bar lineup his entire career in Nebraska, competing as a freshman the entire season 2 seasons ago. So this is his 3rd season on the horizontal bar for the Huskers.
And Chris, you remember a couple years ago, Nebraska has been historically a deep high bar school. They had put up 3 All-Americans that year. It was Zach Tiederman, Sam Phillips, and Taylor Christopoulos, last year's Nissen Emery winner. 13.75, by the way, for Axley. Huge score. 3.17 final score for Penn State. Let's see what Max has to say in response to that.
Yeah, Max, a former teammate of mine, great high bar worker, just got fantastic lines. Talk half, beautifully done, legs together. Max also doing his Lucan element.
Great
and works
distance from the bar.
Just look at the way he works that bar. It looks like he's made for the high bar. Coleman, and works that bar well as well.
Showing why he cracked that lineup as a freshman with those other 3 All-Americans, by the way.
So much height on that Tkachev. Max got his dismount left. He could put it down. And he lands it. And the fans in Bob Devaney went crazy after that routine.
Big Sully there from Max Auden. Had the tiniest hop on that dismount, but wow, what a routine there from the junior captain. Excited to see what the judges pick for that. Again, 3:17.15 is the score from Penn State. That's a great score. That's a score to beat. We'll see what the judges decide to give Max Auden. We'll find out shortly here soon. Watch this reaction from the Nebraska bench. Huge celebrations in the corral. They're fired up.
They knew that was a big routine. It's one thing to finish an event for your team. It's another thing to finish an event and it be the last event. Max has a big responsibility anchoring the horizontal bar for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
You can see them pointing to that Jim Hartung patch. This meet and every meet following will move. There's the score, final 3:18.6 for Nebraska, beating Penn State's 3:17.15. Nebraska takes home their first Big Ten win. Takes home, they keep it home, I should say. They move to 1-1 in Big Ten play. Great win there.
That was a great final couple rotations there from both squads. Just a fantastic showing. Just really excited to watch the rest of the season. in all honesty. Penn State besting their score from last week as well. They go 317. I bet the Penn State Nittany Lions have a lot of things to work on that they want to take back home to Pennsylvania, and same thing with the Nebraska Cornhuskers here.
Absolutely, Chris. I mean, 317.05 is not a score to be ashamed of. That's a fantastic score for Penn State. Definitely shows why they're in that top 5. Hoping to improve. Now they're both 1-1 in Big Ten play. We'll see where they go from here, but here's those final score breakdowns from Penn State and Nebraska. There you go, 318-6 from Nebraska, their season high. And wow, just what a matchup between these two programs.
Yeah, Izzy, it was a much better showing for both programs. They're looking more promising as we get deeper into the season. Once you can settle into your lineup spot, figure out who's locks and who's not, you can start pushing that overall team score higher and higher every single weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining us, listening in on Big Ten Plus. It's been an absolute delight to be with y'all. See you around next time.